Hi, guys. Welcome to this week's episode of Hulu's official Paradise podcast. As you know, I'm your host, Rhyme Show Bethay, and we're talking episode 5 of season 2, which is now streaming on Disney+. So we are talking to none other than my favorite sister wife of them all, back with us on the podcast one more time, Enuka Akuma, who you all know as the survivor of all survivors, Teri Rogers, the Teri Rogers Collins.
The Teri Rogers Collins,
yes. And there's really nobody better to talk to than you to take us inside of, because you literally take us inside of all of it, and the refuge that you guys build, and the place that becomes, fortunately in many ways, unfortunately in other ways, your home. It becomes your home, and these people become your family. So tell us, what A, were you studying for? B, what are you? And 3, what do you do? And 4, what is it?
Yes. Dr. Teri Rogers Collins, she is a mycologist, which I had to look up. I'm Dr. Teri Rogers Collins, a mycologist. I study mushrooms.
Well, that sounds helpful.
So she actually became very helpful, as we see in episode 5.
Yes.
You don't think there's going to be any use for it, but she like converts mold into fuel, and she made penicillin. Like she's a serious person here.
Did you know that Teri was going to be so helpful? Like, did you know when you were reading this, were you like, I think Teri's going to be helpful in terms of apocalyptic skills, right? Like,
no, I had no idea. No idea. I mean, it's just reading the scripts. It's like I imagine what it's like watching the show, because you have no idea where this is going. I had no idea how it was going to roll out for her in the show. And yeah, so no, I had no clue.
Well, I watched The Martian. So I had a feeling that a big science brain was going to, as they say in The Martian, science the shit out of everything, and which you did. Because when you had your little post office thing, you were like, who needs fuel? I got biodiesel right here. All I need is some dirt and some mushrooms, girl, and I'm good. I was like, yes. And can I also just say, it was so cool to see a Black woman not only be needed and coveted for her brain, but also have somebody fall. I mean, it's not the best way somebody fell in love with you, but you know what I'm saying? But to have her be the center of things, and not in the way that it's just about the work of it, and someone else gets to be the one that is loved.
That's right.
And beloved.
That's right.
Fought for. And,
Yeah, and she really became the center of the group. She held them all down, and because she had a mother energy, which we see often, Black women taking those kinds of roles in the show. But what was different about this was exactly what you said. She was not just maternal. Yeah. She was there to get some shit done, and became integral and essential to the group.
Take us to that moment in season 1.
Tell them it's okay to be happy, okay? The mommy loves them, whether I'm there or not.
I will, baby, I will.
When he's sitting in that airplane and he's crying, we're a mess, right? And then you take us back to that moment, and we get to see you do it, which impossible, stunning work.
Promise me something. Be a good father. Be a good father to them. Save. Shh.
And then the moment where you turn around and you see Bean.
Well, this is what I love about these Dan Fogelman shows, is that we get to do these timelines, and we get to see how something started and how it connects in the future, and how it's basically everything happening at the same time. It's wonderful. What I think happened when she sees Bean, if we look at episode 2, when Teri loses sight and Xavier is there, she clings onto him. She's a very strong, very capable woman, but in a moment like that, she needs a lifeline, and he is there for her. And I think in this moment in 205, it's seeing that child. Her whole world is ending, but she sees something she can do. She sees something she can cling to, and she finds him. And Benjamin Mackey, the
Is
actor
that
who
who he
played Bean.
is?
Oh my God, this little boy he's such a good actor. Sometimes a lot of kid actors are, like they're just very naturally themselves,
Right,
And there's not
right.
really much of a difference between. But he was acting. He had his moments before, and he's so strong, and so locking in with him was not hard. But I think that's what Teri's doing. She's trying to keep herself afloat using her maternal skills, I guess. But it was an emotional pull. I love the way it's cut together too. You just see the two of them just kind of need each other at the same moment.
I mean, it is, and it's fascinating to me because he doesn't have that with Gary.
Hey, listen to me, okay? Something bad is happening. I am going somewhere safe, all right? Do you want to come with me?
Okay.
Okay? All right, let's go.
Even though Gary is the one that like saves him, saves you, like there is that thing there, but there like you said, that instant, he looks at you, you look at him, and it's love at first sight.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. When he takes my hand,
Mm-hmm.
and it's in that moment that I think both he and the kid makes the decision for everyone, essentially.
Right. No, he does.
And it was it's just the smallest little gesture that just broke my heart.
No, it broke all of our, I mean, I watching it, it's so funny you should say that because that moment where he grabs your hand, it's so small and so profound in the midst of this utter chaos, What did you know, A, when you took the job, and what did you know at the end of season 1 about season 2?
When I took the job, I thought I was playing the wife of the guy who's protecting the president. No clue that the end of the world was part of the show. So it was just like such a gift to get the rest of the scripts and go, oh, that's the show we're doing.
Right,
okay.
right.
I'm here
right.
for it. What's cool and what has been so fun as a fan to watch was seeing Teri be Xavier's reason for existing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's exactly the same for her.
Right.
The world is ending, everything is coming down, but she keeps turning that radio on, and for 3 years, she does not give up. That hope that she has inspires everyone else in the bunker as well, right? That there is a reason to go on, which is what everybody is sort of thinking, like, what do you do?
What do we keep? Yeah.
So instead of we just need to survive, it's I need to get back to my family. I need to get back to my husband. And thankfully.
Yes. And you know that, and here's what's so interesting about this is that he doesn't know you're alive, but you know he's alive. I mean, for all intents and purposes, you know that he's with the president. So if anybody has survived this, odds are it's him. They're getting that man to safety in Colorado.
Yeah, she does know. She does know that he is that he's safe because they have the conversation when she's on the street.
Right. Whereas in the other world, Xavier has to let you go.
Yeah.
For him to get by.
Yeah.
Like for your kids to get through the day, they have to let you go. It would be foolish of them to believe that you were still alive. They think everybody's gone because that's what they've been told.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Versus you guys who've made it against all odds.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Oh, gosh. Teri's such a fascinating character to me, and I love the development. I do. I mean, because, again, going back to, like, it's very common that season 1 would have been, bye, baby, and that's it. Good job. Thank you. It's a wrap. Everybody, it's a wrap on Enuka Okuma. Thank you, right? But to have you come back and to have you grow so much is narratively, creatively a more rare choice, but such a beautiful choice that they've made because we get to see you.
Well, what I love, again, is this character. She knows what she wants, and nobody is going to stop her. If the mind is changed, it's because she's done it herself. And so when her husband says, don't go, she's not listening.
I love you, baby. But you're late.
You haven't given me a reason to stay.
I'll see you in 10 days.
So therefore, I'm going to go. I got a plan, I've got work to do, and my work is important to me.
Which you told him from the very
which I
beginning.
told him from the beginning.
Right.
So you were late with the car, but I'm gone. I got my taxi. I'm out. The only reason he was asking her to stay in her mind in that moment is because he didn't want me to go. It's not enough. It's not enough. So what I love about, because I was saying to Sterling, I was like, so you're okay with this? You're okay with the fact that you just let her get on the plane? But he had to justify for himself. He fully believes that she's going to get taken care of when she's away, when they talk about it. He believes and understands. So that's his deal with Cal when that doesn't work out.
I don't know how you guys do what you do over there at Paradise and finding the best actors in the world, but like Gary was just...
I will help get you to your family the moment that it's safe out there. But that is a long time from now. Right now, we need you. He needs you.
It had to have helped that he was such an incredible actor, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And did you see it coming? Was there something for Teri where Teri was like, my spidey sense is tingling, or was Teri fully in because she has no choice but to? I mean, where do you think Teri landed with Gary and his Garyness?
I choose to believe that she did know that there was, because I think she's a smart and sensitive woman, and I think there was definitely unawareness. But it's not until he tries to kiss her where she has to take the hard line and be very clear as to what's going on.
You saved my life. I will never be able to repay you, but I'm gonna spend however much time we have here trying to. And I'm gonna give you everything that I've got. But I cannot give you that.
Okay. I can live with that. Friends.
Partners.
I think she's an open book when it comes down to it. She knows her mind. She knows what she wants. But I think living with 7 people in a basement, I think at what point does it get addressed? And that was the point where it has to be dealt with.
Right.
And he respects it. And he's a good man, right? He's a good man. But Cameron is such a nuanced actor that it was so, is he good? Is he bad? Is he kind? Is he incapable? Is he super? It was hard. It's like a lot of different levels, but he really handled them beautifully, and it was fun. We discussed so much
Really?
their relationship. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and it was
Isn't
just
that the
fun.
best?
Yeah.
Isn't that the best when you have a scene partner who is just as invested as you are in creating and crafting?
Yeah.
Because so much, I'm so glad to hear you say that, because so much of that conversation that you guys had is on the screen, both in the spoken and the unspoken. I think which is why you earn so much of those beautiful moments that you guys have, and the looks and how it all kind of unfolds. And I will go on record as saying Gary is a good person, and you're right there with him, but you're like, I can be here to a point, but I'm gonna have to let you, you know what I mean? Which is just, I don't know. It's
I think maternal instincts kicking in there as well, right? Like
Yeah.
there was a little bit of
Yeah.
mothering going on with Gary because he needed it. And
Yeah.
and that's filling a void for her in many ways. But they also made really good partners. They became parents to Bean, really.
Yeah.
And he saw what Bean was living with before the apocalypse. And also, even right down to the character of Enos, played by Andy McQueen. Andy is a dear friend of mine for many years.
Shut the front door.
And we've never been able to work together. And this was just a lovely surprise.
Shut up.
Yeah. And then the fact that Enos and Teri have so much animosity between them.
right?
But I love Andy so much. So it was just great to be able to play off of each other in this way and to get to see that character who starts off a little suspect and then gets he's lovely by the end of the show. And
Right?
Yeah.
You are incredible. And there aren't very many people who could have done what you did.
I feel like it's a very special role, and I'm very, very lucky to have gotten to play it. So thank you.
Enuka, it has just been magic. You're an incredible actor. You have the heart of a saint. So I'm rooting for you and Xavier. And yeah, I'm glad he finally found his girl. Well, hi, everybody. Welcome back to Hulu's official Paradise podcast. And I am literally delighted to now be joined by Sid Khosla, Paradise's Emmy-winning composer. Sid.
Hi, Ryan.
Hi.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. I'm really appreciated. And welcome back to the Hulu podcast studio. It's very big in here. It's very official.
Well, I'm such a fan of yours,
Oh,
first
you
of all.
are?
Yes. I've seen the range of your work from dramatic to comedic, and you're a beast, as they say.
Well,
So,
thank
well done.
you. Well,
Yeah.
speaking of beast, this is a
Yeah.
beast of a show. It's
Yep.
a beast of an episode. And so when I watch your work in its totality, I am always struck by how there is a through line of you and the magic that is you and Dan and Jazz. Like you guys have something really, really real. And you put that in all the stuff that you do, but it's so different. When did you guys know you had that magic, and how do you keep it in all of the shows that you do together?
That's a great question, and there's something to be said about knowing somebody for a very long time.
Mhm.
So Dan Fogelman and I went to college together. We were freshman year hallmates, and
I didn't know that.
yeah, and so like Dan would come into my room, and I had like one of those Iowa boom boxes that you could do karaoke on.
You're lying.
No, no, and I would turn the speakers to face the quad where we went
Uh-huh.
to school, and it was like this open quad where people would be walking around, and I would just be singing into it or just making fun of people as they walked by, and Dan would join me, and he would just hang out with me.
Shut
And so
the
that's how
front
we
door.
became friends. It became friends, and it's kind of through music, karaoke. Um,
Which is music, which is music.
which is music. And so, so I've known, at this point, I've known him longer than I haven't. So,
Right,
we
right,
were
right.
17 at that point, and so you grow up, together. And finally, when we were in our late 20s, we met up in LA together, and he was, writing big movies like Cars
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Crazy Stupid Love and all these
Yeah.
movies. And I was in a band, so we had separate paths. And he invited me one day to come in and score a TV show that he was working on.
What was
And
the
that was
show?
called The Neighbors. It was the second season of it was a ABC comedy he did.
Mhm.
And Dan called me to score the show, and I was like, I don't know if I can do it. He's like, you can do it. He believed in me. And I took the gig, and it was the best decision I ever made. And so then I no longer did the band thing anymore. I started writing music for film and television and working a lot with Dan. And so this has been a way for me to always feel like my dream was always to have a band. And now I feel like I have that with him, And so
I'm struck because it's like you have this vision as a kid, and it really truly came true, like
Yeah,
in this really
right.
kind of beautiful way. Now let's talk a little bit about the process. How emotionally invested are you in what you're watching? Because when I'm watching it, I can't help but be a fan. And I don't know if that's because of what I do in this whole mishigash of what we're doing, but do you have to, I'm always curious, like, do you have to have a little bit of like surgical kind of like distance, or do you just immerse? Like, what's your process?
with Dan, we care so much about each other, and I want his projects to be as great as they possibly can. And so the process is that Dan will share a script with me like months before like a lot of other people get it. And he's like, I want you to have this and see what you think. And I inevitably hear a theme, or I hear like a sequence of notes as I read the pilot script. And on Paradise, for example, I read the pilot and I was like, oh, yeah, there may be a sci-fi element to this show, but this is grounded in family, and this is grounded in these relationships that people had in like the before times and after times. And so ultimately, this is like, there's heart and emotion and family at the core of this. And
Yeah.
so I heard this theme, and the notes were Da da la da 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 la da 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 dee 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 da 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 da. It was like this melody I heard, and I played it on piano, and I showed it to Dan, and he's like, "This is great," and he's like, "You're gonna play this tomorrow on a call with all these Disney executives as we
Not
have
the
this tone
Disney
meeting about the show,"
executives.
and he's like, "This is like, go play it for them," and
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
did,
yeah, yeah.
and then so Dan and I then would spend the next several months with Glenn and John, who directed the pilot,
Right.
sort of like figuring out like, okay, now you have the melody and you have the chord changes on piano. Like, now what is it going to sound like? Are there synthetic elements? What's the tension version of this? And so it's like making a record in a band. Like we spent months just writing and honing this thing, as opposed to waiting till we got picture or waiting till, which is what happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Television moves very quickly. So you have to get in early, I think. And that's how you find an original sort of sound to something.
I had no idea how that worked. I mean, I made the assumption that you watched it and you were like in that rush of, like you said,
Yeah.
because television moves so fast that's how you did that. But
that
now,
happens too, though.
but it doesn't.
Yeah.
I think your way is better, is what I'm trying to
Oh,
say.
thank you. But it's good to like, you want to like, it's just, you want to make this your baby and you want to spend time developing it and fine tuning it so that when you're in the editing process, you can focus on really helping the music tell the story of the picture.
Yeah.
As opposed to spending weeks trying to figure out what it should sound like and sounds and everything. So,
Is that how you get it to be so cohesive throughout the season?
yes. I learned this from Dan. Like, he loves themes.
Mm-hmm.
And which is why I think originally he hired me back in the day to work on The Neighbors. Even though like I didn't go to school for this. Like I was not composed. I was a singer-songwriter in a band, but he always gravitated towards like my melodies. And he was always like, he liked the songs I was writing because he's like, I remember that melody that you wrote. It gets stuck in my head. And so he's always wanted to thread those melodies through his work. And I mean, we did it on This Is Us.
Yeah.
We've done it on Only Murders in the Building. We did
Yeah.
it here. And when you have a through line, that's the through line, like in music,
Yeah.
is the hook, is like the chorus of the song, right? And what the fun thing is when you have a piece of music and you have a melody that's memorable or something, or that he thinks is memorable, it's malleable. You can make the super emotional version of it. You can make the super tense version of it, the heroic version of it. So we use that theme everywhere in the show. Like
Yeah.
you hear a version of that in The West Wing,
Yes.
when Marsden and Sterling are together in The West Wing and they're having these emotional conversations. That theme is in there, presented by our beautiful orchestra who's playing that.
Is it played by an orchestra?
Live orchestra, yeah. Yeah.
I just got chills.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We're
Oh,
really
that's
lucky to have these live players play on the score because they add so much humanity and depth to it, and it's great.
You've been nominated for, do I have this right, 7 Emmys and won for Only Murders in the Building. What's it like to have 7 Emmy nominations, win 1? I mean, do you just like sit in the
No.
car sometimes, you lean out and you tell the person next to you, I got 7 nominations? Like, no, because you're a nice and normal person.
Well,
Only me would do that.
Well, thank you. It's very sweet of you to say. Yeah, I just feel super lucky, and I credit Dan with a lot of it. You know, like I have this career doing this because of him. Like I would have been in like a failing band otherwise.
No.
But yeah, you know, I think it's like there's something to be said about working with people who know how to utilize your strengths in the right way. You know, it's like, you know what each other's good at, and you sort of bring the best out of you in that. And that's what's happened to me with working on these Fogelman-led and produced projects. It's like, so I feel like I've been in good hands. So I feel very lucky to have all those like accolades. But no, we don't really talk about it much at home. I have my Emmy in a box. Like I don't have it out. No,
Not a box.
I do. It's in the box.
Come
Well, I feel
on.
weird. Like sometimes, like, you know, you're in Zoom calls and I just don't want it sitting behind me in the Zoom call.
You should keep it in the box and at the beginning of every Zoom call. Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry,
Hold on,
pull it
and
out.
just go and get it. And be like, I'm sorry. What were you saying?
What were you saying?
The reason why it's my favorite question is because yes, we get to big up you. Yes, we get to give you your flowers and say that they are incredibly well deserved.
Oh, thank you.
So, you know,
Well,
I think the world of you.
That means a lot coming from you. I think the world of you too, and
you.
and I hope to keep on scoring your beautiful work.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you for your time. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
Oh,
Yay.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Hulu's official Paradise Companion podcast. I'm very serious here because I am with the one and only Jess Rosenthal, and he is a super producer. And that is a very special title. He gets to fire people, he gets to hire people, he knows where all the money is and where the bodies are buried. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having
Jess.
me, Ryan.
Thank
I've
you.
never heard your fancy podcast voice.
You haven't?
No,
I did it
it's
just for you. You're the only
wonderful.
one who's gotten
Wow.
it. You actually really do all of the things that everyone says producer. And it means that you help people who are incredibly brilliant, incredibly creative get all of that onto a screen. And that cannot be an easy job. And I have a feeling that there's probably maybe one or two of you in this whole town who do it with grace and class and well. So,
Well, thank you. Dan and I, in our old age, we've decided that part of a successful show is having a lovely set. And I don't know if everyone agrees with us, honestly, but we work really hard to make a lovely, warm set and have it be somewhere that people, the crew, the cast, the writers, like to just spend their Monday through Friday. We spend lots and lots of hours there. It might as well be lovely, we decided. So we try awfully hard to do that. I try hard to do that as a producer. The rest of it, who knows?
well, I mean, I think we do know. I think the Emmys sitting on your shelf should tell you something. You know, you have these shows on the air that are, I mean, it's not hyperbolic to say they're iconic. I mean, This Is Us is iconic, right? Only Murders in the
so.
Building is quirky and iconic, and you have these I mean, you know, it's got this rabbit cult following, right? And now you have Paradise, and there's three completely different shows. You're part of the band. We talked to Dan, and he talked about how you and Sid all met in college before all of this happened. Is that true?
It is true. Dan and I went to Penn, and we kind of came out to Los Angeles together. He came out a little before me, and then I came out and I slept on his couch, and we've been pals all this time. He became a writer, and I kind of worked in other parts of the business.
Like what?
I was assistant at a management company. Dan wrote a script about his bar mitzvah as his first script, and I thought it was really good. And I shared it with some bosses, and they signed him. I shared it with a friend who worked for an agent, and that agent reps him to this day.
Get out.
And so we've been doing this for all this time. And yeah, we formed a company about 10 years ago. And so I have a dream job. I get to work with a friend, and lo and behold, people like our shows.
They love your shows, but also, so how did you, when did you guys know you had something super special in Paradise?
I have a nightly dog walk. I'm going somewhere with this.
I'm strapping in.
Over COVID, my wife asked our neighbors if we had just gotten a dog, can we walk with them? There were these two wonderful older women that have a dog, and we noticed that they walk every night at 8. And I said, sure. Over COVID, that ballooned to about 10 families. And to this day, we all get together and walk our dogs at 8. It's very sweet. And, you know, we find out about their lives, and people ask what I do and blah, blah, blah. I got, you know, what shows do you do? I say, a lot of, my mom likes that, or a lot of those comments. Paradise started airing, and I got a lot of, whoa.
I like your show. Like you need to like tell me what's happening. Like, and so I started to notice on the dog walk that something different was happening. It had really grabbed these people, and that was sort of unusual. And I wondered, maybe the rest of the country will feel this way. I certainly hope so.
What is your favorite episode so far of Paradise?
I mean, it's hard not to. My mind, of course, goes to the pilot, and because by the nature of what we do, there's just so much time and energy focused on that pilot.
Yeah.
And also, and I don't know if anyone has given the origin story, or did Dan give the origin story of all of this? Dan wrote a pilot, but he truly didn't know what came next. And the pilot is very much what everyone saw on television, very close, but had truly no idea what came next. And so we and John Hoberg and Scott Weinger actually sat in a room for 3 weeks and just started talking about it. What should it be? We talked to all kinds of experts in architecture and the creation of societies, really heady stuff. And it was wonderful. It was just a wonderful 3 weeks. And so that sort of became the rest of the show. Dan had this conversation with an architect, and he said, what would happen if I said I wanted to build a city, like if I was some billionaire type? And the guy was like, I can't really do that. Well, what if I found like a crease in the mountain? Maybe. And say, so I could tell you, like, build my city then, right? And so that became the Sinatra moment. Build me my city. So those little moments of those 3 weeks are sprinkled throughout.
I love it. And we got to talk to you about the post office and
we love the
how
post office.
Real is that moment about listen, that is like one of the most important things, because the way that Teri gets saved, but she gets saved in a way that, dare I say, is very organic, right? Because you build this beautiful, beautiful story as to how she gets saved, so it all makes sense, and it doesn't feel like, oh God, we gotta save Teri. I don't know, a mailman, right? It doesn't feel like that, right? So how real is that? The bunkers and the 1,500 and tell us.
It's real. There are a number of post offices in the country that were built to withstand some really terrible world calamities. And again, it was a inspired idea, I don't know by whom or Dan in the writer's room, that like, wouldn't that be a fabulous place to set this group of survivors? Who would know about such a thing? A lovely mailman, Gary, why not? So I think you're right. It does feel kind of natural because it started from something real.
Wow.
All kinds of very frightening conversations with scientists about nuclear blasts and what would happen. And there's been extraordinary work done on these subjects. Let's hope it never comes to pass, or it won't come to pass again. But yeah, it's all based on real things. Does it inspire you
and Charlie in Virginia to have a plan?
We have a go bag. That my wife has outfitted. So yes, we're set.
You're set.
You can come to our house. We'll get you through.
Okay, and the other 10 dog walkers that are going to be there.
Exactly.
You guys are going to rebuild humanity with, those 10, some dogs, and me and Sterling and our children.
What else do you need?
Well, thank you so much, Jess JC,
Pleasure.
for giving us all the peek behind the bunker and all the how the, like you said, the sausage is made, and that there's no magic that goes into magic except incredibly hard work. And nobody else can do what you do, and nobody else can give us what you gave us. And I'm really, really honored that you stopped by. You didn't have to say yes, and you did, and I appreciate you.
Thank you, Ryan.
You're welcome. Okay, everyone, I am so excited to welcome our next guest to the podcast because we are changing things up a little bit and bringing in a very, very, very special guest. Douglas Rushkoff is an author, a professor, a technologist, And the reason he's joining me here today, one of the world's foremost bunker experts, to talk about the ways in which actual billionaires, not our paradise billionaires, but our actual real life billionaires are planning for, I'm going to say but can I just say an apocalypse? Hypothetical apocalypse? He's like, no. Doug, thank you so much for being here.
Oh,
I
thanks
really
for having
appreciate
me.
it. So the first thing is, how common are these bunkers? How common are these things? What else is out there? And are they even going to save anybody?
Well, there's lots of different levels of bunker thinking, right?
Okay.
So the most common ones are just, millionaires and other people who buy a bunch of shipping containers and have them buried under the ground and get some alternative power source, and they think they can hide under there, sort of like a tornado bunker.
Right.
But, there's those. And then there's people who just kind of fortify their existing vacation home. It's a couple of gun turrets,
Gun turrets?
extra food.
You're serious?
Yeah. And then there's people who build what they really think is going to be down in New Zealand.
Say more about that, because I don't know what you're talking
So they build
about.
just like a compound, where a bunch of buildings and things, but somehow fortified to resist whatever they think is coming, and usually it's really just to resist us. What they call it, what they seem to call it is the event.
Okay.
It's just the random thing, whether it's like in the show, a volcano, a nuclear war, or a pandemic, or social unrest, economic upheaval, whatever it is that they feel they need to protect themselves from the rest of us. But for most of these guys, it's not the event or the climate apocalypse is more the excuse to live out what's been their fantasy all along.
Which is what?
To get away from the rest of us.
Really?
To have their secret little clubhouse. Boys and their toys and their robots and, to get away. So there's big communities they're trying to build out in the ocean. They call it seasteading, where they put all these kind of rafts
like
out
Water
in the
World?
ocean. Yeah, like Water World.
That was a hot. Well,
Yeah, but if they go out there and can create their own sort of island nation on an artificial island out in the ocean, then they can do unregulated cloning experiments and all sorts of other things.
This is
that they
really
can't do.
happening.
Of course this is really happening. Right. That's why it's interesting. You don't need the apocalypse or the event to see what's happening on the show. Right? It's sort of happening in real time. There's billionaires who have been trying to buy up land in the Bay Area to build something they're calling California Forever. It's a protected billionaires city near San Francisco that they could live in. And they use arguments like saying, we're doing research on regeneration and solar power and all that. But it's really a planned, gated community city. Because the way that their scenarios are looking at the future, these supposed tech visionaries actually have lower sights than higher ones. That's the thing about Sinatra, that she, because of global crisis, she can imagine a city of 25,000 people that survives under the ground.
Right.
More easily than she could imagine, how could we change the way we live in order not to need to escape from all this.
Right.
It's so much easier to change our behavior and make this world livable than to push through as we are so that only 25,000 people can die underground instead of on the ground.
Well, what happens to the rest of us in all of these scenarios?
Well, that's the thing. That's what even the show has the same mentality of the billionaires, which is that although it looks in season 2 more optimistic than them.
It looks very optimistic.
Right, because it's what the billionaires believe is they've got to escape. They've got to use whatever money and technology they have to escape from the impact of the technologies and money that they've already used, right?
Okay, fair.
They're trying to escape, like they've destroyed the planet with AI and everything else, so how do I get off? There's that, but the way they look at what happens to the rest of us is as if we're living in a Mad Max zombie apocalypse. That's why you have to go. Get away. And they want to get away, I think, because they're just scared of us. They're scared of intimacy. They're scared of people. They don't, You know what I mean? They've never
Yeah.
been that social. They want to have their kind of little rascals clubhouse, no girls allowed, up in a, tree house somewhere. That's their fantasy is, or to just get their minds uploaded to a web server and they can just live in a clean video game and not have to deal with the messiness of human interaction. So this is their fantasy.
And they have the money to try to make that happen.
Right. And they look at, and in order to do this, they need to see what happens to the rest of us is so dire,
Right.
so horrible. But for my money, let them go so that we can not have to deal with them and we will take care of each other. Most of us are not like that.
That was what I was going to ask you because like I've said this before, but watching season 2 really healed something in me about like human beings and our need for each other. So do you think they're wrong? I mean, do you think that ultimately what's going to happen is human beings are going to ultimately, because of our need for one another and our need for human connection, do you think it might not be Mad Max?
I mean, yes and no. I think a civilization at close to the complexity of ours has to be maintained for us to survive.
Right.
And that's because we've got so many nuclear power plants out there running. We can't just stop because those things will all go Chernobyl. They'll all melt down. You need active maintenance to keep the fuel rods and all that. So I think in for a penny, in for a pound, we can't go back because what I used to imagine is let the whole thing collapse and we can go back and live naturally and have permaculture farms and take care of each other and do windmills and stuff. We can't do that. So we do need this thing to keep going, but I think we could, and we could certainly do it more easily without people working actively toward ending this thing. But the easiest thing is just as you watch the show, just look whose side are people working for? Are they working for people on the ground or are they working for the people in the bunker? And look at that then in your own real life.
You guys, did you hear that? That's wonderful. Doug, thank you. After hosting this podcast, I thought maybe I was a bunker expert, but now I know I'm not.
Oh, of course you are.
Thank you.
Of course
but
you are.
I'm part of the I'm a humanist. I'm a part of the heart. And that gives me a lot of hope. So thank you so much
Me too.
for all of that. Just and I encourage everyone to go look up everything that you said. Your book is incredible to help all of us better understand not just the series, but like what the message of the series is, and like who are you really fighting for, and who are you supporting in that fight. So, yeah, thank you for joining us in this deep dive. We've only got 3 episodes to go, and I will see all of you next time right here. And yeah, go hug someone tighter.
Yeah.
Paradise, the official podcast, is now streaming.
And stream Paradise Season 2 on Disney+.